Welcome back. You're with us here on Opening Moves. A slight bit of cut both on the Sensex and the Nifty. The market is taking it a bit easy after the vertical rise. 10-odd point premium on the futures, though, still sticks. Let's talk about some interesting ideas. Om Metals Infra Projects is the company that we're going to talk about. On your screen from the 16th of September, that's what the stock has done. All right. Vikas Kothari is Director Business Development at Om Metals. He joins me right here in the studios. So let me just introduce the company first. Because you are into you do hydromechanical work.
That's our core business.
So, there's a dam coming up. Where do you come in?
All the hydraulic steel structures that you see in a dam or in a hydropower project or in an irrigation project, which are responsible for storage of water and regulation of flow of water. That's what is broadly classified as hydromechanical equipment, essentially covering all the steel structures which are responsible for storage of water in a hydropower project.
That's a crucial sort of...
it's fairly significant in its importance because without these gates you won't really be able to store water and regulate the flow of water and thereby generate electricity or store water in an irrigation project.
The other thing is it's largely a 2 to 3 player market. It's a competitive market for you?
It's a highly specialized and a niche area of engineering construction. So therefore there aren't too many. There used to be about 6-7 companies till about 10 years ago, mostly state-owned central government PSUs also. But lately, the central government PSUs have gone out of business. So that has largely left the market between two large players. One is us and the other one is a company called Texmaco.
Okay. But do you see more competition coming into this field?
Well, this field, as I told you, is a highly specialized and very niche area. So therefore requires... There are global players, yes. Globally there is Alstom, there's DSG Noel, there's VA Tech, which is now called Andritz. So globally there are large players also. But in India we are two large players which command nearly 80% of the market share. Now, because this is a specialized area, therefore there are a lot of entry barriers, very high entry barriers, and you should have done similar projects in the past 5 years or 2 years or 3 years, before you're allowed to bid for such projects. So therefore the newer players will definitely come in the future, but because of the kind of margins that we have in this business. But I think it is unlikely that anyone can crop up and become a national player overnight, because it does take a lot of time before you can build those references in your qualifications.
So how is business looking for you?
Well, as we are all aware that there is immense focus by the Government of India on development of hydro, which is obviously much required because the hydrothermal ratio has been going down since last 20 years. So there's a lot of focus by the Government of India on development of hydro. Then at the same time, there's a lot of focus on development of irrigation projects. We have droughts and we have floods. So both of these problems cannot be solved unless we build dams and canal systems. So with the hydropower initiative of Government of India, there's a huge focus on hydro, and in the next...
Is it as fast as most of us are made to believe?
No, you're right. There are challenges in execution and completion of these projects because these are in very difficult terrain and difficult geographies. So they do pose challenges in terms of where the projects are located. But largely, there is no choice but to develop these projects because the peak demand of power can only be met through hydro. And also, the water problems can only be solved by building large dams and canals. So therefore, there are delays, but yet, there is a lot of accomplishment in terms of generation from hydro. The Government of India has announced plans to build nearly 35,000 megawatts in the next 5-year plan. So I'm saying that even if they do, let's say, 50% of that, that's still sizable opportunity for hydromechanical equipments.
So what portion of that comes your way? Right now, so let's talk about the past in terms of Texmaco and you. What is the ratio? How is the market split up?
So between us, two companies, we command nearly 70 to 80% of the market share. And out of that, because Texmaco's focus is largely on wagon manufacturing, this contributes only 20% of their business, maybe. But for us, it's 80% of our revenues. And therefore, we command more than 60% of the market share out of the 80%. So we have the largest share, and both in terms of order book, our current outstanding order book is about 900 crores, which is to be executed in the next 2 years. And also in terms of number of projects that we have bagged in the last 2-3 years, we have bagged nearly 9 projects out of total 11 or 12 projects that have been bid out by NHPC, NTPC,
That's
NIPCO.
An impressive strike rate.
Yeah. I mean, we are highly competitive compared to any other player in this field. And we have in the last 10 years built references which are by far the largest in the world. The kind of projects that we've completed, they qualify us to bid for any project in the world. We have completed the world's largest vertical lift gate.
Vikas?
Being a monopolistic business, we command a fairly good margin. We have a gross margin of about 20-25% and a net margin of about 15 to 18%. So the margins are fairly healthy in this business.
Okay. I want to talk about real estate as well. You've got land banks in some big cities around the country. Is that opportunistic in nature, land banking, or is that also, you're seriously going into that line of business, real estate?
See, our core business is engineering construction, which contributes almost 80% of our revenues. But lately, in the last 10 years, we've also diversified into real estate by development of constructing a hotel in Jaipur, by multiplex and commercial complexes across, and residential spaces. So we have, built up a land bank, a very valuable land bank across Delhi, Jaipur, Kota, Bombay, Hyderabad, and Pondicherry. The marquee project of all these land banks is the one in Bombay that we have, which is in Bandra, which is 26,000 square meter land. It's a slum rehabilitation scheme and is expected to generate revenues of close to 1,500 crores in the next 3 financial years. We've also bought a very attractive piece of land in Jaipur recently, where we've acquired 5 acres of land in the heart of Jaipur at a very prime location. So with all these land banks, the opportunity is immense, and it's very attractive.
Tell me something, most of this land banking has been done at near or at current market prices?
No. This land banking has been done at phenomenally low prices because we have an eye for opportunistic investment. And what we've done is, for example, most of our land bank is actually being bought at a very low value, sort of distressed assets being sold out by banks. And we've grabbed them and we've turned them around and we've created value there. So for just to give you an example, the land that we have here in Bandra, our cost of FSI is about 6,000 rupees a square feet. You can imagine how low value.
But how much can you sell freely out of the land that you got in Bandra?
So with the current LOI that we received from Slum Rehabilitation Authority, the total built-up space that we will get on this project will be close to about 300,000 square feet. But at the same time, I'm talking about the free sale area. It's about 300,000 square feet. But at the same time, we've recently heard, we all have heard that there is a provision, there's a revision on CRZ regulations. So CRZ 2010, which is expected to be announced very soon, will bring in an inflow of additional FSI on this project. So the FSI, which is currently at 300,000, is expected to go way up going forward.
Out of the entire land bank over a period of years, can you estimate some amount of cash flows coming? What is the opportunity?
I can tell you that with our share on the land bank, we expect close to 500 crore net profit to be coming from all of the land banks once they are monetized.
Over a period of?
Over a period of 3 to 4 years. Out of which significant, just to give you 2 projects alone, the Bandra one will throw out about 250 crores as net profits. And the Jaipur project, which we recently bagged, will be about another 250 crores in net profits. And the rest of the land bank will throw an additional around 70 to 80 crores of net profits. So collectively between all the land bank, we have close to about 500 to 600 crores in net profits coming from all of these projects alone.
Okay. Great talking to you, Vikas. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time, as always, here on the channel. That's Om Metals company that we were talking to. The stock's at about 61, 62, 3.33% higher. Manvi.
Moving up 3.5.
Take a quick commercial break. Come back with the management at Gitanjali Gems. Mehul Choksi is chairman and managing director. We'll talk business. They've bid for an Italian company. All of that coming up.